I handle bodies, I cut some of them. I actually put preservative inside there and I prepare them for funerals. I'm trained to do all these things and wonderful Philippine trainers. So I flew all the way to Philippines a few years back. Even last year, I was back for a refresher across with them. So in short, I handle dead bodies.
To the next part of our conversation, which honestly I've been looking forward to for very long, ever since I was planning this episode and I approached you, right? So you have a very interesting side hustle. Can you tell us what is it that you are doing on the side?
Okay, this side hustle, I don't do it for money. I do it really because time and space allows me to be trained in it. I'm actually a trained embalmer, which means I handle bodies. I cut some of them. I actually put preservative inside there and I prepare them for funerals. I'm trained to do all these things and wonderful Philippine trainers. So I flew all the way to Philippines a few years back. In fact, even last year I was back for a refresher across with them. So in short, I handle dead bodies.
Right, okay. I'm very excited about this. No, because I don't really understand, I guess 100% okay, first of all, of course, why you want to do it, that's one. And then also how the entire process is like.
Right.
What is embalming actually? Because I just had a conversation with a friend just now who had no idea what it was. She thought maybe you just put like one layer of something over the body and then it's done. But how is the process like?
Oh, okay. Actually, embalming is a beautiful process. Every body that I handle that passes through me, they end up more handsome, more pretty, much more presentable than when in the state that they came in. In short, actually, some undertakers use a very simple term now. They say, I will bring grandma in for an injection. Or Chinese say, 我带婆婆去打针先. So that's a very simple part. But in real essence, what we do is that we may have to drain out some of their body fluids. We have to put a certain preservative in them so that they can have a 5 day, 7 days funeral. In a void deck. You can imagine, a void deck is hot, humid. If you don't do anything, grandma may not look very presentable.
Right. So you actually have to like drain the blood out, right?
Yes, that's the technical term. It is the blood.
Oh.
There's also involved like organs removal, right? So that the decomp doesn't happen, correct?
No, we don't remove organs.
Oh.
Yeah, but we will manage and handle some of the organs.
So, but you are there, like you are actually the one who is doing all this.
I'm there. In Singapore cases, I will be supervising some of the cases. I just want to make sure that whoever is the patient or my client who goes through that process, goes through is well prepared, because no family will follow the body through that process. But for me as an estate planner or as the person with them, I am willing to and I can follow them through the mortuary, the embalming until we handle it.
Wait. You mentioned your clients.
Yes.
So just now you didn't mention this. You said you handle your clients as well.
Yes, of course. I'm there only because they're my client. If they're not my client, I wouldn't be there with them .
It's like value added service.
But it's like
man, look. Okay, so in Egypt, there's like this like Charon that like ferries you to the afterlife. You know, it feels very, in the grand scheme of things, very mythical. That 你真的是包到完. My initial question was that did the embalming come after when you realized that since I can do estate planning, it will be very nice for them to also trust you so that you guide them through the process? Or was that like just happened to have like, I have two skill sets, then now I'm here, they match? How did that come about?
It's quite miraculous one. Although I'm an investment director, I run investment for clients. My university training was in life science.
Right.
And during life science days, we will see anatomy, body parts. I'm always very amazed across by that. So that skill set marries up with my estate planning. And if you remember during COVID days where there's nothing to do, and we were told to go and improve yourself.
Right.
Somehow this popped up in my computer that we can be trained in embalming. Then I was like, wow, this is something I'm so interested in, and yet I'm in this part. Let's try to do it. So we had a series of Zoom lecture courses. Then thereafter, I flew into Philippines myself to run the actual practical.
Oh wait, so this is a recent thing?
Yes.
It's a COVID thing. I thought you have been doing it for like really very long. Actually, it's a recent thing for you.
It's in the last 3 years that I started to get trained, get refreshed, and started doing it. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
But don't you? Okay, I guess one of the questions okay, maybe I'm jumping the gun here.
Yep,
so
sure.
I'm going to stop myself. We'll move on to the next question that is actually on the list.
Yes.
How do people actually react when you tell them that you handle clients who have passed on? Or even generally your decision to do this as a side thing as well. How do people react to that?
I guess everyone is just like you guys, they are in a state of disbelief. They just mentioned you handle investment enough already. You handle estate planning, write a will, write a trust enough already. So many people can't comprehend putting these two things together. My only answer to them is that if I'm just handling a financial product or just an investments, I can do that across for them. But what I want is to transit that whole stage. If I can write a will, then after when they are sick, I don't bother about them. When they pass away, I don't bother about them. Then 7 days later, I come back to read a will. I feel a bit fake. Yeah, I want to walk that journey across over with them, even when they are not so well. Some of our nursing team comes in to support them. Some palliative care, some of our grief counselors come in to support them. And I'm also there across with them until even at the point that they pass on, their families cannot follow them to the mortuary or to the embalming room. I'm there with them in the embalming room until I bring them back to the funeral and hand them back over to the family.
Right. So, like, the first thing that struck me is like, you know, when let's say like judges and doctors, they have this thing called conflict of interest. You do not operate your business around people that you know or care about, right? For doctors specifically, because the emotional aspect of it is very strong. Does that not have any emotional impact for you to like have to embalm a person that you were having a conversation with, that you're working together to do like estate planning with?
There are a few parts of it. In fact, most of the time, I may not be handling the process myself. I might be supervising. There might be another embalmer running it. But I must tell you, the emotional part is always there. The emotions that we have with a patient or clients, if you want to call it, a lot of times I even tear with the family. Yeah. So of course, for myself, there are counselors or there are psychiatrists that I work with that always comes back to counsel or to support us, to run a debrief across with us. But in the whole process, I'm still very okay. So yes, emotions steps into us, but no big worry about conflicts because that patient is not living anymore.
But does it not take a toll on you? Because like what you say, right, not all estate plannings go smoothly. Sometimes you really help the family to navigate through all the unraveling of their family issues, now solved already. And there is usually, when you go through a lot of like, not say trauma, just difficulties and conflicts, right? There is going to be a lot of emotional load on you. Having to do this as a job means you are going to possibly in the future do it repeatedly. Do you not see it as like a very emotional draining thing that one of these days my tank is going to run dry?
No, it doesn't. Actually, there was a quote by this gentleman who has just passed on a few years back called Timothy Keller. Just when he was passing on, he actually mentioned, do you know that actually I'm going over to another side which is much, much more beautiful than what I'm actually in right now. So allow me to go. Yeah, so if you mention that it's draining, it's really because it's unknown where the other side is. But if you have hope and you have passion and love that the other side is much more beautiful and better, then there's no issue. We're just supporting them in that transition to the next stage only.
Oh, so that is how you deal with the emotional part of it.
That's how I work it out, and I'm still very happy.
Yeah. yeah, because I was really very curious. I mean, of course, all the like embalmers and even people who provide funeral services, generally they are not doing it for people that they know personally, but for you, it's actually on a personal kind of level. Yeah, that's why I just feel that, wouldn't you find it really difficult to deal with the emotions that come with it? Because after all, you were with them when they were still talking and like alive and breathing, right? And now he's just on the table, and you are, doing the embalming process and everything. It just comes across to me as like something that would have been very difficult for somebody to do.
No, it's not. It's really okay because we follow through them in their whole transitions. When they are diagnosed with a terminal illness and in that 3 to 6 months of that terminal illness process. So it's not a sudden thing that I suddenly see them on my embalming table. Yeah, it's actually a process, but I've been with them and I actively want to go through that process across with them. And that's how we build that very close relationship, not only with the deceased patient clients, but with the whole extended family that we are working for. And all of them are the beneficiary of the trust or the will that patient has created.
It's a very eye-opening situation because on paper, when we first read the questions, right, it looks like this is a very grim topic. We don't know how to make it lively. But now if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, imagine having a guardian angel who is going to help you navigate through a thing where everybody has to go through, everybody has no idea what's the best way forward, but it's just scary. And then you have the person to just guide you through the paperwork, the physicality of it, and also like having your friends and family who are also equally as worried, right? But usually, if let's say you go through the normal like kind of like funeral services, it's like what he said, you just send into a room and then you hope and pray that you come out, and it is what it is. But having a person go through the process with you, be like, no, it's settled. I saw it, I was there. It feels very nice because, okay, here's the thing, right? Like death to me is a big thing that I often think about because, well, what happens when you die? Do you become a blip, etc., etc.? But there's also the thing where I consider that funerals are not for the dead. Funeral is for the living. Because 他死了，他已经爽了. It's the rest of us that we have to keep on going with. And I think that we often don't think about what estate planning is really for. It's like, oh, I got a lot of things. I need to settle my things. But it's rather more for after 我走了, right, the rest of them keeps going, And if they're stuck up with me having passed away, then 我这样很 burden sia, 我走了我还在 burden. But if you plan it out and you have a person to see it through, it helps the living people continue living. And I think that's quite important because I have this, it's not really a weird story, it's just quite a common Singaporean situation where there's a family, right? Then after the father or the grandfather of the family passed on, like they cannot move on, right? It's a very painful situation. Then they, from my understanding, they never estate plan until eventually they gone through the process and they sorted it out and everybody got like a split of the thing that everybody was happy. And it, according to my friend, it was at that moment, then they realized, yeah, okay, I can move past this and go on. And I realized that there's an infinite value in trying to help you with the human condition of emotions and like understanding that we cannot just quantify about the money. Like money at this point of time, not really important. Because it's not everywhere you walk. My Akong Jeff Bezos, right? My Akong's gonna be selling that sardine on bolu. All he can give you is maybe his sardine curry puff recipe only. And we need to consider that aspect of it, because a lot of the times when we're talking about financial instruments, we always talk about dollar cents, money, and a lot of it we don't really think about is the human element of it,
Hey Yen, don't look at me as a guardian angel. I'm definitely not, okay? If there's any resemblance to look at it, you remember the show Batman? Batman has a butler in the whole house called Alfred. If there's anything, I think we are the Alfred in the whole family, to support the whole family in that transition. And of course, I mentioned just now, money is not just about dollar and cents and investment is dollar and cents, but I really want to see the purpose behind money. When Akong Ama has created a lot of wealth or even some level of wealth, what impact can that money do upon to the community or to the people or to the loved ones that they still have living around them? So even if if you know in Chinese traditions, sometimes they will have a bag of coins to pass to each of the grandchildren, really as a significance. It's really about the purpose behind that. It's about how they want to transit and transcend that blessing downwards over to the children around them. So it's that purpose more than just dollars and cents.